Firewood shouldn't burn on its own, especially not after years, especially not after someone dies. But when I opened the door to my late husband's remote hunting cabin, the stone fireplace, unused, untouched, forgotten, was blazing. Thick orange flames, fresh logs, crackling like someone had just fed it moments ago. The cabin smelled the same as the day he left: pine, dust, and cold Wyoming air. He'd been gone 3 years, found frozen 2 miles from here. And yet tonight, in the middle of a snowstorm, the firewood was still burning. As if he were still inside, as if he'd only stepped out for a moment, as if he were waiting for me. My name is Claire Redding, and I promised myself I'd never return to this cabin. Not after what happened. Not after the sheriff found my husband Evan face down in the snow, his boots off, his jacket missing, as if he'd undressed while freezing, a sign of paradoxical heat before hypothermia takes over. Except the strangest detail wasn't how he died, it was the direction he walked. Toward the cabin, not away from it, as if he saw something, heard something, or someone. Tonight I returned only because the realtor insisted I remove our personal items before the sale closes. I expected the cabin to be dead, quiet, cold. Instead, the fire roared like it recognized me, like it was excited. I shut the door behind me, snow melting off my boots. "Hello," I called, voice trembling. I knew no one would answer. I also knew the fire hadn't started itself. I approached the fireplace slowly, cautiously. Fresh-cut logs, clean split, still sticky with sap. A fire this strong meant someone was here within the hour. But outside, no footprints. The snowfall was untouched, perfectly smooth. A draft moved behind me. I turned. The cabin door was locked. Had been locked when I arrived. I swallowed hard. That's when I saw the bootprints inside the cabin. Large, wet, leading from the front door to the fireplace, as if someone entered, lit the fire, and stood there warming themselves. I crouched and touched one of the prints. Still damp. Recent. I followed them back to the door, my heartbeat punching my ribs. Only one set.no exit tracks, no trail leading away. Whoever stood here never left. The fire snapped loudly behind me. I jumped. Something, a folded paper, was wedged between the stones beside the hearth. I pulled it free, hands shaking. It was a photograph, half melted at the edges. A photo of me and Evan on our wedding day, with fresh ash smudged across my face. The wind howled outside, pushing snow against the windows. The cabin felt too warm now, like the fire was heating my skin from within. I needed answers. I opened the bedroom door. Dust. Cobwebs. Our old quilt still on the bed. But something stood out. A suitcase. Mine. The same model I used on trips years ago. The same color. Same scuff on the corner. Except I never packed this. Never brought it here. I flipped it open. Inside were clothes I hadn't seen in years, folded exactly how Evan used to fold them when he did laundry. A note sat on top. Claire. Stay tonight, E. My breath hitched, my vision blurred, my knees almost gave out. He used that dash before his initial in every note he ever left me. But this handwriting was fresh, ink still dark, paper uniged. I backed away from the suitcase. No. No, you're dead. You're gone. The fire behind me crackled harder, like something inside was listening. Like something inside was pleased. I convinced myself someone else had a key. A squatter, a prankster, a hunter seeking warmth. Anything but the alternative. I stormed to the kitchen drawer where Evan kept the spare cabin key. Empty. But in its place, a single match, unused, Wooden. Old-fashioned. The same brand Evan used because he claimed lighters lacked romance. I lifted it. A whisper, soft, hushed, floated through the room. Claire. My blood ran ice. I spun around. No one. Just the fire. The flames shifted suddenly, leaning forward as if pushed by a breath from inside the chimney. Claire, it whispered again. I stumbled backward. The voice wasn't in the room. The voice came from the fire. I stepped closer despite every instinct screaming to run. Evan, I whispered. The flames parted slightly, opening just enough to reveal a dark hollow behind the logs, unnatural, deep, like the fire wasn't consuming wood but revealing a doorway behind it. A flicker of movement. A hand, pale, trembling, reached through the flames. Not burning, not blistering. A human hand. I gasped and stumbled back. Claire, the voice breathed, now more distinct, more familiar. I stared, horrified. Evan, no. You're dead. I buried you. The hand curled slowly, fingers gesturing like it needed help. Like it needed me. Then a second hand reached out, gripping the stones of the hearth. A face began forming in the glow, silhouette first, then features. Eyes reflecting the firelight. A mouth struggling to shape words. Claire, help me. I screamed. The face vanished instantly as if sucked back by an unseen force. The fire roared violently, throwing sparks across the floor. I ran to the other side of the room. No, no, this isn't real. I'm dreaming. I'm grieving. A heavy knock slammed against the cabin door. Once, twice, 3 times. Slow, deliberate. I froze. The bootprints by the fireplace were still wet, but now a second set, smaller, lighter, began forming across the wood floor, prints appearing one after another, as if someone invisible walked toward me. The air in the cabin chilled. The flames shrank. The light dimmed. Something moved beside me, breathing. I forced myself to look. The small footprints stopped right next to my boots. A child had walked toward me. But there was no one here. A whisper floated up near my ear. He brought me to the warm place. I choked. A little girl's voice. Soft. Lonely. I spun around. Still nothing. He said Mommy would follow. My heart cracked in my chest. I staggered backward. I'm not your mother, I whispered. Silence. Then the voice changed. Older, lower, trembling. Evan's voice. She wasn't ours, Claire. I froze. What are you talking about? The fire swelled again, and from its glow a figure slowly stepped out. Evan. But not as he died, as he looked the day before the accident. Alive. Warm. Human. Except he cast no shadow. He looked at me with sorrow, with fear, with something worse. I didn't die from the cold, he said quietly. My throat closed. Then what happened? He stepped closer. The girl happened. The cabin's lights flickered violently. I shook my head. There was no girl. He swallowed hard. There was. She came to the cabin the night before everything. Lost. Freezing. I brought her inside, gave her warmth, gave her my coat. My stomach twisted. Where is she now? Evan's eyes darkened. She never left, Claire. I stepped back. She's still in the cabin? Where? He didn't blink. In the fire. The flames trembled like something inside them was breathing. She wasn't human, Evan whispered. A child's giggle echoed from the chimney. High-pitched. Playful. Wrong. She said she was cold, Evan continued. She asked me to hold her. When I did. His voice cracked. She climbed inside me. The fire hissed like a furious snake. I stumbled back, horrified. She took my heat. All of it. I tried to leave the cabin, but she kept pulling me back. I wasn't wearing my jacket by the time I reached the ridge. She made me take everything off. My knees buckled. You didn't freeze to death, I whispered. She drained you. He nodded. Pain etched across his features. She lives in heat, in fire, in warmth. She burned because she couldn't burn herself. A giggle echoed again, this time behind me. I turned. A small silhouette formed in the flames, a girl made of light and shadow, eyes black as coal. Daddy came back, she giggled. Evan panicked. Don't look at her. I covered my eyes. The fire surged, flames whipping around the room. She's hungry, Evan warned. You need to leave now. What about you? He shook his head. I can't leave. I'm tied to her, to this place. But you. He grabbed my shoulders suddenly, his hands warm and solid. You can run. Something shrieked from inside the fire, high and furious. The girl's silhouette grew. You said Mommy would stay, she hissed. The fire exploded outward. Embers swarmed the room like angry insects. Evan shoved me toward the door. Go, Claire. I ran. I threw the door open and sprinted into the snowstorm. Heat chased me, burning my back, searing the air around me. I didn't look back. Couldn't. A scream, not quite human, not quite child, pierced the night. Lights, firelight, flared behind me, illuminating the woods. The cabin was burning. The entire structure engulfed. I kept running. Through snow, through wind, through darkness. Even after the heat faded, even after the screams died, I didn't stop. I reached the highway an hour later, collapsed against a snowbank, and watched the cabin burn from a distance. The fire flickered strangely, pulling inward, fighting the wind. As if something inside didn't want to die. A figure appeared briefly in the flames. Evan. He lifted a hand. One last goodbye. Then the structure collapsed. And the fire finally died. I don't know what that girl was, I don't know where she came from. But I know this. Some fires burn wood. Some fires burn homes. And some fires burn people. I'm selling the land. Leaving Wyoming. But sometimes, on cold nights, I swear I hear a faint giggle behind the crackle of my home heater. And the sound of small bare feet walking across my floor.